This video is brought to you by Law Excellence IAS Academy.
Dear students, good morning. Welcome to DEEP Daily Editorial Enrichment Program. Let us start the discussion on today's newspaper, that is 3rd July 2019. The first article for discussion, Reclaiming the Space of Nonviolence. So here, the article can be connected with ethics paper. How to deal with a situation of systemic violence in the society. The greatest weapon given to us by Gandhiji is Satyagraha. So, what violence does to human body and human mind, and how Satyagraha can be used to fight this violence as a culture in Indian body politic, we have to understand through this article. So, this article I am more connecting that to GS4 ethics paper Satyagraha. In this case, what the violence does? Violence inflicts pain. Pain on both perpetrator and the person who perpetrated it. And the next is, it reduces humanity. And the second, the people who are watching the violence, they consider violence as a spectacle and tries to consume the same. So when they are consuming it as a spectacle, obviously they are becoming the consumers of the violence that will kill or reduce the sense of humanity which we have. From what a perpetrator tries to perpetrate violence, either there can be sense of injustice, or there can be sense of superiority, or sense of righteousness, or sense of strength, or sense of being truthful. So these are all the things, it will give some sense of superiority. So the person who is perpetrating violence, so either he may be negatively minded because of injustice, or he has a positively minded towards sense of superiority. Then what shall we do? So it is going to create a vicious cycle in the society. Violence pays off. This culture is very dangerous. So second is, it degenerates and damages our entire body politic. So our collective consciousness is reduced, and unnoticingly we also fall to the victim of that violence in one or the other form in the coming future. So if we do not collectively fight it, then obviously it will lead to damage of the entire society. If we want to have a good life, we need to have a good society. Obviously, if the society is damaged through violence, we will also be the victims of that violence indirectly. So Satyagraha, how it is going to change this? So what Satyagraha believes in? So every human, other person is you in a different body. It means whatever the pain you are going to inflict on him is going to come back to you as a pain. So that's why you are taking pain instead of giving it. So whenever a pain is inflicted, you try to take it rather than giving it. And the next is, reflect yourself on the pain which you are trying to give. In this context, the self suffering, it means if you are beaten on one side, show the other side of the cheek. So this is what is the language Gandhiji was talking about. A sense of injustice and a self suffering in reaction to it, it will build a consciousness of the society. When that consciousness, public opinion is mobilized. So this public opinion makes the citizen, rather than being a mute spectator, an agent of change. So when citizen becomes an agent of change, obviously the society is going to renounce the violence. So that's why Satyagraha is a powerful tool, and it needs lot of courage and also moral strength to fight. So that's the reason why Satyagraha is not the tool of the weak, it is the instrument and philosophy of the strong. It enlightens the mind, give us a theory of action, how to face the violence. That's the reason why what the author suggests is, Satyagraha shall be the instrumental philosophy for us to fight whatever the violence which is going on against minorities, Dalits in this country. That is what says. The next is, no home even a decade after the war. Let us see it from higher pedestal. So refugees are there in India. They are coming from Sri Lanka, few are coming from Bangladesh, few are coming from Myanmar, Rohingyas for that matter. So how to deal with them? The biggest problem is India do not have a comprehensive migration or refugee policy. So every matter is being dealt in an ad hoc pattern. And the second, all these people, when they are not being accepted by India, they do not have documents to prove that they belong to some other country. That's why they are stateless. When they become stateless, there is no education, there is no employment opportunity. Obviously, they are pushed into darkness. And the second, if they have to be repatriated to that country has to accept that. India has to prove that this person belongs to Bangladesh, Pakistan, or Sri Lanka, or Myanmar, but that is too difficult to do. So, if they go to that country, they do not have a home, they do not have land. Unless assistance is given, there will be no voluntary repatriation of these people. So, this voluntary repatriation associated with assistance can happen if that country is cooperative. And the second thing over here, who has to provide the assistance? That is a greater question. And many people who are the refugees in this country for decades together, they have got children over here. And these children, where they belong to, the country where they are born, or the country where their parents belong to. So, India not recognizes the country people born on this soil as its citizens, unlike United States of America. So again, India is trying to bring in a citizenship amendment bill. What is this bill says? Any minority person belonging to the Pakistan, Bangladesh, Afghanistan, they can get a quick citizenship status in India if they apply for it. And you know that executive has the discretion in giving the citizenship status. But however, refugees, Tamil refugees from Sri Lanka or Rohingyas from Myanmar, they do not have this particular option of getting early citizenship through this amendment. So these are the challenges which the refugees in India are broadly facing. Not by wishful thinking. This article talks about achieving 5 trillion economy by 2024. In Niti Aayog meeting, Prime Minister himself has stated the objective of making 5 trillion economy by 2024. So then, let us understand the story of China and ASEAN economies, especially Korea. When they are able to become such a strong economies, the first thing is the savings rate has to be very high in the country. And then the savings rate has to convert into investments, which is gross capital formation. So in India, for the past decade, savings rate is coming down. Today it is close to 29.6%, almost from 36% it has come to this level. And the second is, obviously as savings rate is declining, the capital formation is also declining. In this context, whatever the difference between the capital and the savings, this has to come through the foreign route, like foreign direct investments, etc. But in India, FDIs are not a dependable source, and FDIs do not cross 1.7% of our GDP. So, in this case, there are remarkable challenges, but it is not an unachievable task because China, Korea, all these grew at 11%. If India has to achieve 5 trillion economy status, it is expected to grow at 9%. So, this 9% growth can come if we increase our savings rate, capital formation, and then improve or cut down on our consumption. Today, the consumption is around 59%. We have to reduce it to 50%. And financial intermediation, it means the agencies that pool up the money and give it for investment like banks, insurance, etc., has to be strong. In India, banking sector is going through a crisis. Non-performance assets is the major challenge which we are facing. So revival of the banking sector is quite important. And the second, higher consumption is in India is majorly due to young population. This has to be converted into savings. So increasing the savings rate is very much important. And the next is India has to create new markets for its economic growth or for the products which it is creating to be absorbed. As of now, trade wars are going on between China, USA, China, India, India, USA, etc. So the markets are shrinking. So diversification of its exports and finding out the new markets is essential for India. So if these steps are taken, India can achieve this $5 trillion economy by 2024 as decided by the Prime Minister. Healthcare's primary problem. You know that in Muzaffarpur in Bihar, 150 plus children died because of lack of prompt health action. These people have ate lychee fruit and that has caused hypoglycemia which has led to acute encephalopathy, finally led to the death. Already we have explained how lychee fruit leads to hypoglycemia and in a starved child, how it can be catastrophic. In this context, in India, healthcare became synonymous with hospital care. Healthcare is much a broad term. It involves positive care, preventive care, and then wellness. So health has to be seen from a positive dimension. In India, healthcare became equated with disease, disease became equated with hospital care. So the primary health centers plays an important role with regard to the positive health care. So in India, the biggest strength of the healthcare system having a strong force, Anganwadi workers, Asha workers, nutritional support. These people have to be properly used. So decreasing the proliferages in the supplementary nutritional programs, providing for sanitation, and all these things, empowering the primary healthcare centers by equipping them with the right personnel and right equipment will ensure proper healthcare delivery in India. The second thing is with regard to the doctors to population ratio, India has a very poor statistics. So improving the number of doctors manning the primary healthcare centers is also important over here. The next is teachers and quotas. This article is about Central Educational Institutions Reservation in Teachers Cadre Bill 2017. So remember, what shall be the unit of reservation in the universities? Either it has to be the department, let's take in our medical college biochemistry department is there, and then medicine department is there. Medicine department treats the patients and it is a remunerative department, and biochemistry department is more a teaching department. An assistant professor is an assistant professor either in biochemistry or in the case of the medicine. So here, when we consider department as a unit, then there will be a problem. So the people have to be recruited on the basis of a roster. Let's take a particular position got vacant in a department. Then that particular vacancy has to be filled in an order in such a way that first, let's take general category. And then after 3 years, another professor retired. Then it has to be filled with OBC. So in this roster system, to get the OBCs, SCs, STs filled to their particular position, it takes decades and decades together. That is the reason why many of the central educational institutions do not contain or consist of this. Teachers from SC, ST, OBC community. So that's why, in concerns of the social justice, university has to be taken as a unit. Then what will happen if university taken as a unit? So probably at the university level, reservations have to be maintained in parity. So in that scenario, biochemistry department, which do not have patient interface, all the teachers will be recruited from a Dalit or OBC community. And if medicine department, and most of the people will be recruited from the upper caste, that can be a possibility. So in this scenario, then the Dalits will be reduced into certain unwanted departments, something or which do not have the popularity. That can be a possibility. So let us weigh these two things, and what we can say that the concerns of the social justice brings us to provide the reservations taking university as a unit. And the next, Trump in North Korea. So in Vietnam, Trump and Kim has met. Before that, in Singapore, they met. And this love and hate relationship is just going on like that. So North Korea has come to impatient levels now. So America is not closing the transaction with them. What North Korea wants, it wants freedom from economic sanctions. What America wants, it wants North Korea to be denuclearized. So North Korea believes the nuclear weapons which it possesses is an insurance for it against any kind of encroachment, any kind of displacement of the regime of the Kims. The nuclear weapons are a safety. So America says, kill all your nuclear weapons, then I will release the sanction. I will lift the sanctions. North Korea says, no, I will go step by step. We do agree in principle that we have to denuclearize. So let's go step by step. First, I will close down Angbyan facility and you lift certain sanctions. Then I will close a few other facilities, you lift certain other sanctions. So this is the stepwise approach which the North Korea is suggesting. So obviously, mistrust is the major problem over here. But diplomacy, if trying to find a solution, is a positive thing over here. We can say that there has to be some middle ground between these two positions. The next, news articles. Supreme Court seeks Election Commission response on cash transfer schemes. Let me give you one example in Andhra Pradesh. Mr. Naidu, he has started Pasupu Kunkuma, Raitu Bandhu, like that. No, I mean, schemes which are supposed to transfer money to the women, farmers, etc. At the national level, Prime Minister has started Kisan. So, model code of conduct, it cannot stop these kind of programs which are pre-announced. So after the model code of conduct comes, new policies, programs and schemes cannot be announced, but existing schemes can run. So they have pre-announced before the elections those schemes. Because of this, there can be some influence in the voting behavior of the people. It is like giving money from the government exchequer and stating that I am giving the money. So obviously, this is going to influence the voters. So this has to be stopped before the election cash transfer schemes. That is the matter which is filed before the Supreme Court as a petition. Why policemen kill themselves? The suicide rate is highest among the policemen in any uniformed professionals. Why the uniformed professionals normally have high suicide rate compared to the others? The reason is stress. The policemen do not have holidays, leave is difficult to get, they have discord families, and added to that, the stress of the job is going to be immense. This is forcing them the psychological disorders which is forcing them into suicide. So how it can be stopped? In Andhra Pradesh, the new government has announced one day in a week as a holiday for the policemen. And the second, there has to be a proper leave policy. Third thing, sufficient policemen has to be there to deal with the law and order situations in the country. Next, Senate bill grants India NATO ally-like status. So India, it was given NATO ally-like status. What does that mean? In USA, there is a law that is called National Defense Authorization Act. So any defense relationship, close defense relationship with the other country, it has to be authorized under this act. So this act is being amended, and India is being provided with non-NATO ally status. It means India can have liberal defense imports from United States of America, technology transfers from United States of America. And the next is lithium ion giga units mooted. So you know that India wants to bring all two-wheelers into electric mode or electric vehicles by 2025, and then India wants to bring in all three-wheelers, autos kind of thing, into electric mode by 2023. Any electric vehicle, what is required? Battery is required. As of now, we do not have lithium ion facilities to create these batteries. So that's why Niti Aayog stated that lithium ion giga units have to be created to facilitate the electric mobility in this country. Obviously, Bajaj, all these people who are producing the today's motorbikes, that is with internal combustion engine, they are going to face a challenge. So almost it's going to be disruptive for them. So they are opposing to it. So these are the articles for. Thank you very much. Have a great day. The best. Yesterday we had an academic conclave in law excellence. All our people R&D team and all the teachers, we met together, and then we have discussed how to improve the academics to the next level. So in this scenario, almost it was kind of night 9 o'clock we conducted the academic conclave. That's the reason why the video did not get uploaded. I will upload it to you soon. Right. So in this academic conclave, we took some important decisions. How to make student simplified with his learning. So this learning, which is creating a lot of stress in his mind, how to bring in that simplicity, that is the agenda of the day. So how to create micro schedule for the prelims. So prelims program, how shall we improve? And then every day we are doing newspaper in the form of days approach. But UPSC asks the questions on topic approach. So the days approach, how to be converted into topics approach, and how this system has to be streamlined for our students. That's what is the discussion which we did. The discussions went very fruitful. Almost, Rajashekar, who is our LIX R&D head of Hyderabad, and family head Miss Geeta in Bangalore, and then the 4 people from Bangalore who are taking care of R&D there. All these have come for this thing, and that was a fruitful meeting. And we will improve the academics to the next level. That is a promise, and I'm going to do it. Thank you very much.